Chennedy Carter ended up getting into an interview with an influencer and basically giving her side of the story when it came to the Caitlin Clark shove-over moment.
Chennedy Carter has finally spoken up about the incident with Caitlin Clark, and her comments might not help her case. She's brushing off that controversial hip check as just a little tap, saying it's just part of the game. But when every WNBA team keeps passing on a player with her talent, it raises bigger questions. This video takes a closer look at how certain behaviors, whether it's tension in the locker room or drama online, can hold back even the most promising athletes. Carter's latest interview leaves out something important. What she's saying doesn't really line up with what everyone saw happen during that game.
Nothing actually illegal has taken place, to my knowledge, involving Chennedy Carter. Yeah, that was a really ugly foul, and I understand it was bordering on what looked like assault. We all remember the vicious hip check. I also will not forget Angel Reese jumping up off the bench.
It was a much-anticipated matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, and from the opening whistle, the energy was intense. Then, out of nowhere, Chennedy Carter hit Caitlin Clark with a hard elbow, completely unprovoked. The moment shocked fans, spread like wildfire online, and sparked serious backlash from across the sports world.
Chennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench. And Clark.
But it wasn't just the hit that caught people off guard. It was what came after. Carter stayed silent. No apology, no explanation, no sign of regret, either during or after the game. And that silence spoke volumes. The league took notice, so did Team XX. In a league where team chemistry and public image carry weight, that one moment did some real damage to her reputation. Since then, teams have been wary of adding her to their roster.
For example, the expansion team, the Valkyries haven't signed her. The Las Vegas Aces. I mean, hell, I look at the Chicago Sky and wonder, what? Connecticut Sun would be another one. There are teams right now that are very devoid of offensive talent, and she's one of them. Right?
Now, Chennedy Carter has finally spoken up about that shove on Caitlin Clark, and what she said might leave you shaking your head. In a recent interview, Carter tried to brush it off as just a minor bump in the middle of a competitive game. But let's be honest, anyone who saw the clip knows it was much more than that. The video speaks for itself, and it doesn't back up her version of events.
You watch every game, every single game, to see if you can find any deflects in my game, and it's really nothing that you probably could say too much about. So then you have trolls, and that's why I said they're gonna be around regardless. But yeah, it was just like a nice little tap, I'm here, not to harm you.
Here's the thing, what Carter's saying doesn't line up with what actually happened. The cameras caught everything, start to finish. Carter walked straight up to Clark when the ball wasn't even in play. There was no game-related reason for it. First, she called Clark something on camera, clear as day, then followed it up with a hard, deliberate shove. Clark wasn't even facing her, which made the whole thing feel more like a targeted move than a heat-of-the-moment clash. You could see the shock on Clark's face. This wasn't just part of the game. It crossed a line, even by pro standards.
What warranted the shove over while the ball wasn't even in play? Yeah, you get back in her face and talk trash, but don't, just go over there and bowl her over and the ball not even in play. That's two different things right there. Yeah, if you get hit in the face, that happens. All right, that happens in basketball. You can get hit in the face, hit in the head. You can get hit anywhere during a basketball move or play, right? But the fact that you had a dead ball going on and you went over there, you called her a B and then bowled her over. Yeah, that's a little...
Carter's explanation in the interview doesn't match what we all saw. She says it was just part of having fun on the court and that she gave Clark a light push because Clark was complaining. But the video tells a different story. It wasn't playful, and it definitely wasn't spontaneous. It shows a clear verbal jab followed by a forceful, intentional shove. There was nothing casual about it.
If you want to push somebody, you're gonna full force
But people really made it a crazy big deal. I've seen the clip.
Yeah.
But I'm not crazy deep in the WNBA world, but in the WNBA world, they dragged it like crazy.
I mean, that happens, man. It's one of those things. I'm a great player, she's a great player. It looks a certain way. Everybody's gonna have their views on it. But my personal view is, I don't have anything against her. She's a great player, and so am I. And I've got buckets all that season, you know what I'm saying? So
Carter's trying to pass it off as normal trash talk, just part of the game, but there's a big difference between competitive banter during live play and walking up to someone after the whistle, insulting them, and then shoving them. One shows passion and drive, the other crosses the line into behavior the league simply can't ignore.
That's a little different than somebody talking trash in your face. Just because you might see other players do it and they give an excuse of why they did it in the NBA.
That distinction matters because women's basketball is in a critical moment. The WNBA is growing fast, with more fans watching than ever before. A lot of that momentum is thanks to rising stars like Caitlin Clark, who are bringing new energy and attention to the league. When incidents like this happen, it hurts more than just one player's reputation. It chips away at the progress the league is making and the respect it's worked so hard to earn.
Be a good sportsman and play within the game. That's all. Bust your opponent, but within the game. Don't get the physical punching and bowing. I can't stand a dirty play.
The fallout has been serious. Despite her talent as a scorer, no WNBA team has picked up Carter since the Sky let her go. Teams see more than just a tough player. They see someone who crossed a line and still won't own up to it. Instead of taking responsibility, she's downplaying what happened, which feels like she's trying to rewrite the story for fans who saw the whole thing with their own eyes.
Just give her like a little, like, I'm here. Like, you know, I don't think it was, you know what's crazy? Me and my brother went back and watched, and we seen a lot of clips in the NBA of guys getting like pushing LeBron. Like, I think it was Jeff Teague or somebody who like pushed LeBron out of bounds, like said, man, I was mad because like we couldn't stop him. So I'm just like, it's like one of those things, like it happens in basketball. I know people try to say, oh, it's not one of those things.
It's not a personal thing. It's a competitive thing.
It happens in basketball, and like it's just one of those things. But like, yeah, it's kind of what happened. Then it spiraled out of control,
and then the media takes whatever narrative they want.
This gap between Carter's story and what the cameras clearly show is exactly why WNBA teams are staying away. Front offices are left wondering if they want a player who can't own up to her actions or who downplays a serious confrontation as just a little tap. So far, the answer has been no.
I don't think the Caitlin Clark moment is the reason she's not in the WNBA. I do remember a moment, it was like tweeting.
While teams are already hesitant because of the on-court incident, what's happening on Carter's phone might be even more damaging to her career. Her online presence shows a pattern of behavior that has general managers second guessing whether she's the right fit for their locker rooms.
And basically, ESPN had her as the 25th player in the league or something like that. And I think Angel was up like the number 12. She was up high. And basically, Chennedy had a problem not with the Angel restatement, but she was talking about the point guard.
Remember the ESPN ranking that had Angel Reese ahead of Carter? Most players would use that as fuel, maybe put it up as motivation in the gym, or just let their game do the talking. Not Carter. Instead, she turned to social media to vent her frustration, showing everyone how she handles perceived slights by making them public and personal. What should have been a routine media ranking became a case of disrespect in Carter's eyes. Her reaction raised red flags for WNBA execs. Here's a player who struggles with jealousy and can't separate personal feelings from professional feedback.
She was like, how my stats are top 5 or top 10, something like that, but y'all had me ranked at 25.
While established WNBA stars like Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart are posting about team goals, community work, or sharing training highlights, Carter got caught up in ranking drama while trying to secure a spot on a roster in the most competitive women's basketball league. It made her focus seem off track.
And then I think a tweet that was kind of related to that came out, and they were like, look, the reason the Sky are looking like they can make the playoffs is because of Chennedy Carter and the refs. That's what somebody tweeted, and she ended up liking that post. That could be tied into the fact that it might be a little chaos or drama being created within the organization.
The reaction to the rankings was just the start. Then, Carter liked a post suggesting she was single-handedly saving her team. Professional basketball player publicly backed content that implied her teammates weren't doing their part while she carried the load. Now, imagine being in that locker room after seeing your teammate essentially throw you under the bus online. Basketball is all about teamwork, and front offices are looking for players who lift their teammates up, not ones who act like they're the lone savior of a struggling group.
Liking that tweet, she didn't go to the game. She didn't play in the game, right? Now, I don't know. They did show hospital pictures and things like that. But yeah, man, a lot of people felt like that was a scapegoat. A lot of people felt like, oh, she kept saying she had COVID.
Carter's digital behavior sent a clear message to general managers. It seemed like she was more focused on personal recognition than on team success. A major red flag in a league where building a championship culture is everything. That me-first mindset raises serious concerns. While seasoned veterans might briefly acknowledge rankings, they quickly shift the focus to team goals, understanding that personal accolades come with collective success. Today's WNBA is about more than just basketball. With record viewership and growing sponsor interest, players are public figures representing entire franchises. Every post, like, and comment shapes their professional brand. So, when Chennedy Carter using social media to vent frustration rather than promote positivity, it raises alarms. They start questioning whether she can put the team first, remain professional under pressure, and handle criticism without taking it personally.
Because after that tweet and her liking that tweet, she didn't go to the game. She didn't play in the game, right? Now, I don't know. They did show hospital pictures and things like that. But yeah, man, a lot of people felt like that was a scapegoat. A lot of people.
Carter's talent is undeniable. Her scoring ability is top-notch. But in professional sports, talent alone doesn't cut it. Her social media missteps have turned her timeline into a cautionary tale, showing how online behavior can derail even the most promising careers before they really take off.
Honestly, you know, she ended up slapping Marina Mabry when they first played each other after she left their team. So that could be a thing too, if you want to go off of her actions on the court.
Carter's talent might help her get her foot in the door, but what happens once she's inside is why teams are showing her the exit. The locker room incident with Camila Cardoso wasn't just a minor disagreement. It was the latest sign of a troubling pattern. WNBA teams are now choosing peace over points when it comes to making roster decisions.
We can also talk about her history, right? And then we remember what we was hearing in the locker room when they lost. I forgot what game that was, but they ended up losing, and it was commotion in the back. And Camila Cardoso was saying, hey, close the door.